Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm working on a traveler's notebook layout titled Meal. I'll be scrapping this photo, and I'm working with a digital scrapbook kit, Good Eats, by Grier and Penny Springmann from the Shoppe Designs store. This layout is based on sketch number 34, which is a silhouette cut template that is available as freebie at MistyHilltops.com, and there are a number of freebies available for download, so if you haven't done it, go check it out. So I'm starting as usual by laying out all the papers so that I have a general idea, but this is a pretty big piece of paper that I'm putting there in the background, and so I'm actually ready pretty quickly to put it down before I start with all the other papers. And the tricky thing is always to have the two pages in the background aligned, and it's especially tricky the bigger the paper is that I have to glue down as the first kind of paper. So I finally managed to get the two pages to align, and now I can work with the other papers. Once the papers align, like one paper is down and connecting the two pages, then it's not a big deal. So here I realized, oh no, I should have first glued down the other two pieces here. That happens to me still sometimes, that I mess up the order of how things should be glued down, and then I have to kind of see if I can still move things from the top layer and still glue them underneath there, but it still worked out. So now I have the circle here, and it's a fun kit that just has a lot of good for eating themes paper on the paper, and so I really liked working with this digital scrapbooking kit that has been in my stash forever. It's probably retired, probably not available anymore, but you might, I don't know, I haven't checked it out, so you might want to check if you are interested anyway. And then I put some journaling down. I decided I really need to start to work with my journaling as well, and so here I used from an old just a planner that had a travel theme, so I used that as for my journal paper there. And so now it's time to put down the ephemera pieces, and there is a bunch of pieces that come with the digital scrapbook kit. Not all of them obviously work when it's a digital scrapbook, because like flowers and things like that are like the photo of a flower, which I don't like. I prefer to have actual flowers on my paper. So actually these flowers come from an old punch that I have, and I just still can give them some dimension and stuff. So for the most part, yeah, the flowers that I'm using here come from two punches. One is a bigger one, and they're not big, as you can see, and then one is a tiny flower punch that I use for the centerpiece of the flower. So now it's up to adding more, and I made a bunch of ephemera pieces. This is from my travel scrapbook or traveler's notebook album from my trip to Israel, and so I have a whole bunch of ephemera pieces that I prepared for that project that I'm also able to add to this page here. I do use a couple of the pieces that come with this kit, as I said, but then I use a whole bunch of from my stamping stash of embellishments from that as well. And when I say for my stamping stash, what I usually do is I stamp them, and then I end up just using my dies to cut them to smaller label size, and that just turns into pretty elements there, and I like it. So I'm still fiddling around with the leaves that go behind the flowers. I guess I again started by gluing down the flowers before I put down the leaves, and usually you should put down the leaves first, but it works because the leaves they're small, the ones that I wanted to use, and so they can just be tucked underneath the flowers there. And then I have to glue down this. This is a die. Again, it's dies, an alpha die, and they come with a tiny frame around the letters, which I wanted to use. And so I have to be mindful. Like you can see with the L there, it's coming apart. The other ones I was able to keep together, which is not usually the case, but it was easy enough to put them back together and then glue them down. But I still want to put that centerpiece for the A there as well. And here I'm making sure that the outline of that letter is still tucked very close to or is hugging the letter closely. But there's that piece for the A that I will add to the A later. But now I'm moving on to this little cluster here, and again it's a tiny flower that I have a punch for. This is not a die that I'm using, and it's one of my stamps. And so I don't want to flatten these out, so I'm using this tool to push them down onto my page. And here I can add a few more pieces of embellishments. And then I had these stars, and I thought I should really use it. Like when you go to a restaurant, you sometimes it's a 5-star restaurant, sometimes it's a 4-star restaurant or something. So I'm like, I might as well use that star theme with this page. But now I'm adding that centerpiece for the A there, because it looked kind of weird that it didn't have the center filled out when all the rest is thicker with the outline. So I wouldn't do it if I didn't use the outline of this alpha. So here I'm adding more pieces to that cluster up there. I like clustering. I enjoy clustering, but I still don't want it to detract too much from the photo. So I'm careful with how I cluster and things. So I don't like when pages get too crazy with stuff and then you just don't even pay attention to the photo anymore. So here I'm adding, it's my 4-star meal that we had on our trip to Israel. We were eating at Megiddo, and before we moved on from that side. So this is my page done. All I need to do is to flip it around and cut it apart, and I use the center line there as my cutting guide, and then that's this page. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave you with some more close-up. Consider giving this a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.